Hi, everyone. Yeah, Joe made some really good points there.
I think on the forums, they want us to more look at the 3 pillars of sustainability. So looking at the social, environmental and economic impact of the community centre rather than more the materials. Because I agree with you, sustainability, immediately you start thinking about what it's made of and what it's going to look like and how it's all put together and what they do with all their surface water and stuff. But I think someone on the forum asked for more information about the materials, and they said we actually want you to look more at the three parts of it and how it affects the environmental use of the land, and how
the 3 objectives of the NPPF then, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's more about how it will help the community grow in the long run, and how it's accessibility. I think I found when I looked into it is a massive part of sustainability. For the environmental aspect, it's making effective use of the land, so that you're not just wasting land for the use of it, because obviously in the long run, the bigger our population gets, the more scarce the environment is going to become.
Well, it's the finite resource, isn't it?
So I think that's more what they're getting at.
Okay.
Which is harder to look into, because obviously it's easy to say, oh, a green roof, that's really sustainable and everything. But I think they seem to be getting more at the 3 aspects of it instead.
Well, I suppose
that makes sense, because we, at the end of the day, we don't have any of the details of the actual, materials used for this project. So the only sort of route we could, alternatively go down is the 3 objectives.
Well, exactly, and that was the question that I raised, and you'd almost need to know what sort of plumbing systems they're specified in order to know that they're going to use low flush toilets and being able to harvest rainwater and maybe reuse rainwater for running the central heating system, etc., etc., etc. And we did learn, as Joe said, we learned some great things in the Tech 4 BSc module. But maybe, had we been given a performance specification of the building and a spec for what was being put in it, then maybe that angle we could explore. But because we haven't got that, then yeah, I'm kind of inclined to think maybe you're right, that the running theme of the NPPF is sustainable development, and at every juncture, apparently, we have to consider, or councils have to consider, economic, environmental, and the other one that escapes me. Those 3 pillars of that sustainable development aim. So maybe we have got to go down that line, which isn't particularly clear, but it's going to take some researching, isn't it? But yeah, I think it was Annabelle who said that. Yeah, I think you might be right, Annabelle. But then, as well as right as you can be, based on the fact that we're all kind of knitting fog to a certain extent. Yeah, it's an individual thing, isn't it, really, that one? But it does seem to perhaps lend itself, particularly given you said you'd read a post from the tutors that actually directed the particular questioner to go down that road. So maybe, yeah, is that what you think? Yeah.
I think going by the resources that we've got, you can't start to look at make-up stuff, that will then make it, or could potentially make it, sustainable, based on materials that are used. At the end of the day, looking at what we've got, there is no mention of materials that are going to be used for it. So we can't really look to introduce that.
I suppose, given it's telling us to look, and again, I know Dean talks a lot about not going down a rabbit hole. He kind of almost leads us to the edge, doesn't he? It's like, here's a rabbit hole, DP39, but whatever you do, don't actually base your answer on all of those points in that DP39, because almost he wants us to say, having consulted DP39, which discusses the renewable sources of energy being utilised in the building and the design of said building. We are advising the client here. We can say, as we are unaware of the exact specification of the building into that detail, all we can do is recommend that those points are taken on board in the design. But actually, the real thrust of the answer is about the 3 pillars of that Sustainability Development Directive.
I think on a forum, John, is it Hubert?
Yeah.
Tutors. He said higher marks may be awarded if you were to perhaps sort of say, oh, well, we could make this decision if we had this information. So
yes.
What additional information is required to make a decision on whether it's sustainable or not?
Which is
worth mentioning that to be able to look at DP39 in more detail, we require more information with regards to the materials and the construction.
Yeah, so rather than say what you can't do, say if you had X, you could do. Yeah, I'm with you. Flip it on its head. That makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah.
I think the other thing that I've just kind of noticed there is that, given the fact of the location of the development, it is, within the grid. It's not as if you have to run services, into the middle of nowhere to try and get it sort of kind of, hooked up to the construction, to the current
infrastructure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there's probably going to be a bit of a gain there. It's not as if you've got to make this huge through road to the site. It's literally just going to be a small deviation off the spine road that runs through it as well. It's, the actual location of it is quite suitable for, tying into all these services.
Well, isn't it just a drop curb and a road into the, that's all it is, isn't it? There's nothing more than that, is it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, the evidence seems to suggest that they have chosen a good location. And I guess whilst we can't articulate the fact that, well, of course they have, that's why they've got the money and it's been built, you idiot. We can't say that, but we can't ignore it in the back of our minds that actually a good location has been chosen because it's been, the grant has been given. And I don't think, because it does say in the brief, the grant has been given. So I don't think it's unreasonable for us to make that point or acknowledge that point, that clearly it is a location that makes sense in many ways. Otherwise, why would the grant have been given?
I think that the currently proposed location, it does actually tick all the boxes, and I think it might just be a case of actually backing up why it does.
Yes,
you are effectively answering against the question and saying, well, no, it actually is a suitable location, and this is why, and
yeah,
on and so forth.
Yeah.
So that's the probably sort of route that I'm looking to probably take with this one, I think.
Yeah. Well, no, I think we may well have bottomed out points A, B, C, and D as far as we can, unless anyone else wants to throw some more information into it. Because as I say, I'm looking for as much help as I can get on this.
I think actually, additionally to that, actually, the real development of that was actually based on that location that we're focusing on. So in real life, they've obviously looked at probably the aspects of different locations, etc., and that probably has come out on top.
We almost have to allude to it without saying it, don't we? In a way, and that's quite clever. That's quite a clever thing to do if you can do that, isn't it? To sort of almost give the marker information by what you don't say as opposed to what you do say.
Yeah, just like a roundabout way, sort of saying, well, this is why, and
And I guess if I was being really sexist, I would say that women have probably got an advantage over us men of doing that. But then I don't really want to go down that road, obviously.
Please don't.
I was just trying to provoke a response from Annabelle, but she's not biting, so.
Sorry, I am listening. I'm right in the middle of my dinner.
Oh, right. Yeah, cool. Well, I you know, I think, you know, in order for us to go away and process what we ever talk about on these sorts of Zoom chats, we've probably gone through enough material to give ourselves a day or so of, or more perhaps, of processing what we've discussed, you know, because I guess most of us will want to re-listen to it. I will post these on my YouTube channel. And I'm not a prolific YouTuber at all. Don't get me wrong. It's only since I've started doing this on the other module, and then I'll just share the link with to those videos on the WhatsApp group, so anyone who's got that link can see them.
So you're not a vlogger, Neil, no?
Say that again.
You're not a vlogger.
A vlogger. Well, I suppose I am, but I don't mean to be. I'm not sponsored, which I think that's the next thing, isn't it? Get sponsored by, you know, probably Newman or something, you know.
Right. But, Ferrari outside.
Well, I don't want another one, you know. I did actually have an Aston Martin last year, to be honest, but I had it for 3 years, but I had to get rid of it. I had to grow up. But it's called a midlife crisis, and everyone will get there at some point. I was very fortunate, but I'm a complete, and it is a wanker's car. I'll be honest, it really is. And I was the wanker in it. But you know, it's fine. Okay, well, I'll yeah. I mean, if there's anything else you want to talk about for task 1, but I think we've probably done it, not to death, but I think we've done it very well. Actually, I've certainly got a lot out of it.
Yeah, no, I feel a lot more confident going into it. Put it that way.
I do.
Yeah, I feel much better. What would you like to do with task B? Is it easier to leave it for a couple of days to let everyone digest?
Well, from my own selfish perspective, and I've already got a degree in that, I would like time to process what I've heard today, and also to actually do week 14, which I think would be really useful before I do the module. Before I do the assignment. Yeah, I know, and you know, by my own admission, I have put this on the back burner because I've done the other module.
No, not at all. I mean, I've only just looked at it anyway.
Yeah, no, I get the feeling.
Look at stuff as I get to it in the assignment. Really, it's a better.
Yeah, it's a question of knowing where to put your time, isn't it? Now, and does everyone agree that task 14 is a bit of a no-brainer for doing task B too? Sorry.
I think it's more reading the forums and the responses that have been posted, although not many students took part in it. It's more looking at the resources they've given us, and then looking at the forums as well with their answers for the weekly wrap-up.
For task 2, are you talking about now?
Yeah, they're just the stuff that they put on the forums to sort of close off the week, really. I found that the most useful, along with the links that they put in there for stuff.
You find it most useful in respect of what, task 2 or the assignment as a whole?
General information, I'm afraid.
Okay. I just
not
got
overly helpful.
I just got the feeling, looking at the webinar that Dean did the other day. I think he did one on Friday, and I think Connor kindly pointed me in the direction of watching that after about 30 minutes. It talked a lot about means of escape.
Yeah.
And occupancy levels within areas of
I think the whole question really is on. I think the most of the question is mainly on means of escape, and it's really looking at the floor plan and working out how many people are likely to be in each area, so you can then work out the exits, and looking at travel distances. I've almost sort of got through it, and I'd be interested to hear what other people have written for it. But I went through it with my colleague, and although there's about 1,000 different tangents that you could go off on, when looking at it, you could assess the whole building if you really wanted to. That's not going to fit in the 700 word count. But But yeah, it's certainly mainly about the exits and how the people are going to get out of the building.
Just for clarity, and I know I've said this a few times, are you talking about task 2?
Yes.
Great. Okay, I'm completely with you, and I found the webinar yesterday really quite useful, and that's, I feel much more confident with task 2 than I do with task 1, because task 2 is, it's kind of.
Well, task 2, I think, is more looking at an approved document and being able to get the information out of it.
Yeah.
Which
Cool.
suits me much better, and actually I find it's far more interesting. Call me boring if you will, but yeah, that's generally, I did find it a bit easier. It is easy to get sidetracked as well, to be fair, and look at all the different things that's wrong. The bits I found the most difficult, I think, were the way that the doors are all different depending on which plan you're looking at. That certainly didn't help. But Dean did a webinar on Friday, which helped clear it up quite a bit.
Yes. Well, luckily for me, I'd not kind of studied previous iterations of the drawing, so I was looking. I'm just looking at the one that, you know, we're now told is the one to use. And did I hear right that he was going to confirm early this week whether or not the exit to the shuttered doorway opening to the sort of changing area was going to be an emergency exit or not, or
I think
how it was linked to the fire alarm?
He did say he'd post in the forums sort of an overview of all the changes that, or the bits to look at and not look at, which he hasn't done yet. But yeah, I think he did say he would upload that this week on the forums. I'd be interested to know. In terms of, it's not the most straightforward plan in terms of how it works and what you would do if you were designing it yourself. I think there's bits that I've said I would change, but we can get into that in a different webinar.
No, well, I look forward to it. Okay, well, I may as well end this then, and it'll take me a while to get them on the on YouTube, but I'll do it straight away. But it just take a while because I have to save it from Zoom to my computer, then I have to upload it. Anyway, so I'll do that and get them posted tonight for you for as links, and then you can look at what you want.
Excellent. Thank you very much for hosting.
No, well, thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Thank you for everyone's contribution. It's been a massive help to me. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good
Bye.
luck, everyone. Bye. Bye.